Hey everybody, welcome back for our second lesson. Of course, looking at the picture there and the title, wind, and you got some previews of how the wind is created throughout the world with the high and low pressure. Well, what is wind? We all know what it is. This is the time of year we get a lot of it. It's it's a motion moving from one point to another. So air's moving, obviously. Now, characteristics. What causes the wind? Changes in atmospheric pressure. You saw in the last section of notes, high and low pressure is always moving around the globe, and in those systems and between them is always air moving, which is our wind. Air flows from the high pressure to low pressure. You saw that as well. And you'll see more activities today. The high pressure air is cool and dense, so when a cold front comes through, sky is clear generally, air gets cooler, and there's usually a lot of wind. That wind's not so much from the high pressure coming towards us, but the air between the high and low that was just there creates a lot of wind. Low pressure air is warm and less dense, so rainstorm, it's low pressure. Winds are named according to the direction they come from. So if you're feeling a cold wind, it's cold out. Like this time of year, you get some cold breezes. It's coming from the north. That's a north wind. During the summer, you get a lot of southwest winds coming from the Gulf of Mexico over all the United States up to us, full of humidity. That's the southwest wind. So it's always where the wind's coming from, not where it's blowing. No one cares where it's going. Where is it coming from? Again, we saw this in the last lesson, the difference in pressure between the high and low. And if they get close together, you'll see in a moment, they can really crank up some winds. If you have a big high pressure system with no low around, you have very nice calm weather and it's beautiful sunny weather. All right, how do we measure wind? Wind directions with a wind vane. You see a rooster in somebody's house on top of the roof. Has the north, east, south, and west letters on there telling you which direction the wind's going. And wind speed is done by an anemometer, which is a little fan or a little spindle spiral thing with cups on it, like that. They could spin around based upon the speed, calibrated for the speed in miles per hour or whatever, or knots. If your parents have one of those weather kits for home, you might have this last one. We have one of these on the roof. A few years ago, it got damaged by some wind, but we replaced all the parts. All right, now, we did those weather data collections for, 15 days, and we did some wind chill. And sometimes you said, hey, Mr. E, there's no wind chill today. And as I said to you, if you remember, if the temperature's above 40, as you look at this chart here, once you get above 40 going, this way, and the wind blowing, it doesn't really feel any colder. So the temperature has to be below 40 to feel any kind of wind chill. And if you look at this, the further you get colder going down to lower and lower temperatures, the wind can really affect how much colder it does feel. And I'm not a big fan of the wind chill chart because I'm not standing out there with no clothes on. You have a jacket and a hat and you're dressed, so you're not really feeling the full effects. Maybe your face or your hands, if you're not wearing any gloves, might feel those numbers. That's a combined effect of the air temperature and wind speed. Humidity is not really a part of that. Some weather services include humidity because dry air can feel feel colder. Moist air can feel a little warmer. So some outlets adjust this chart, including humidity. All right, pressure gradients. The size of the pressure difference and the distance between the high and low areas determines the speed of the wind. So at the top picture there, the high and low are further apart. And as this weather changes from rainy as the low leaves, let's say going to the right and the high comes in, there might be some winds, light breezes. Nothing too crazy. The bottom picture, when they're close together like that, you get some very strong winds. And it seemed like since February, we had some storms go by. And after the storm went by, we had some really strong winds. Gusts to 40, 45 miles an hour, tree branches falling down. And it's this situation that you'll see to get that kind of high wind when they're really close together. And if you look at a chart, a weather chart, and we may get to that a little bit in the short amount of time we have, but if you see these little lines, they have all these lines to showing the called isobars showing areas of equal pressure. If they're close together like this, you get high winds. And if they're further apart, like on the right, there's less wind. All right, types of winds. You have local winds. Now, local wind is in your backyard, or in the city. It's a very localized, small location, and it's just wind is happening now. Things can affect the speed and direction of it. Wind going around buildings accelerates, so you actually feel a lot stronger wind if you're near a corner of a building. If you ever go to a big city, you'll notice that. If you're near a yard that has a lot of tall trees around it, you might not feel any breeze at all. So the local conditions affect the wind. Global wind is an entire globe, and the weather systems and how the air moves throughout the entire globe affects weather systems. So looking at this graphic here, you can see some motion. Those will dictate where the weather systems will move, like hurricanes, low pressure, high pressure systems will follow these paths. And we'll get to that in a later lesson, going over where they move and how they follow these systems. Now these lines where they're going all this way and all that way, it varies quite a bit. This is the general setup for it. But they can snake up and down a little bit and move that way. But generally, if systems going, one direction here, one direction up there, they call those the trade winds. So local winds you may see mostly a beach, not the shore. You have a sea breeze. So moving the air from the sea to the land, it's coming this way, sea to land, going this way, occurs during the daylight. So the sun's beating down on the ground here, heating it up. The heat rises. So you have all this heat going up, 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 up. Well, that creates a vacuum, and it sucks the air in from the ocean to get cool air. So a lot of times, if we're having like 95-degree days here in Leesport, if you have friends or family down at the beach, they may have 72 degrees because the water might be 72 degrees, and the air is blowing right off of the ocean. It feels nice and cool. And then a land breeze might happen at night. So the land will cool off. This is nighttime. The heat's rising off the water now, going up this way, and it will draw air from land. You have a cooler breeze. That's called a land breeze. So even though there's no wind driving it for the high and low pressure, you may still have a breeze anyway because of the difference of temperature locally at that place. Here's just another graphic of showing the global winds. I think we'll spend more time on this later, showing how winds are, like a lot of hurricanes may form here, and they move across following those winds, and then they get caught up in these, and they travel up the coast. And we'll talk about more of that with hurricanes at a later date. So now I have some things for you to work on. First one I call Earth, and if you click on Earth, you get this Earth global map of wind. And it's a cool global picture of the current winds right now, this moment, wherever you want to look in the world. So here's the whole globe, and I can zoom in. Now, this is Wednesday afternoon around 1:15. There's a big storm right now off the coast, and you can, using your mouse, you can zoom into things, and you can get the temperatures on here also. So you can see there's a big storm, low pressure, spinning, counterclockwise off the coast. If you click on the word Earth in the lower left, you can add things. I'm going to add air temperature to this. So where it says mode in the middle, I'm going to hit air. Oh, I think it's already a part of it. Good, it's already there, I guess. So hit Earth again, close that out. So that shows the air temperatures as well. And high pressure are a little tougher to see because they're not as intense. That low pressure there is very intense. See how much it's spinning? So high pressure, you come out here, I'm going to go northern United States into Canada a little bit. You can kind of see the air spinning, and I can't draw on the map here. Wherever the air is kind of going sort of clockwise, basically right now, that's Hudson Bay at the top center. That's a high pressure system right there south of Hudson Bay, slowly spinning around clockwise direction. So just play with that a little bit. It's kind of neat to zoom into places and see some strong storms. Check the whole globe, you might find some nice storms. The other simulator I'd like you to try is one called Wind Simulator. So press that. Get a new tab and brain pop. And I have not had to log into this at all yet. So I'm just going to hit the X to close out that window and hit the play game button in the center. Now, look, this is not like Call of Duty or any games you guys play, but it's a nice way to show you how the high and low pressures, when moved around, affect the wind flow. Now, this page, I don't even know what it is, but I don't like it. So I just go to where it says, wait, how do I get to skip? There it is. Skip this stuff. I don't know what's going on. All right, you had 8 levels. So the first one's level 1, of course. Press that. Now, the idea is to get that white arrow where it says drag on the screen, pointing in a direction, we get the wind flow around the high and low, pointing where the white arrow is going. The red arrow is the current wind direction. So I want to get this, it's kind of blowing like out of the northwest right now, or north-northwest. They want a place where the wind's blowing up straight from the south, straight up. So I know it's going to be between the high and low, so I'm going to drag this sucker over. Now it takes a couple seconds to, here it comes. Get this, oh, there it is, right? I almost had it. There it is, between the high and low roughly. Turns green, I win, go to the next level, hit 2 and continue on. Now later on they're going to have you move the highs and lows around as well, so it gets a little more complex and you can make your own weather systems basically to get the wind to blow where they want it. All right, so have fun with that and we'll see you on the next lesson.